Well, g'day and welcome back. We left you at the end of part one rather abruptly because my phone ran out of memory at a riverside cab at Onslow, or near Onslow. And now we're heading off to have a look at the ruins of old Onslow and into the new Onslow township and then onwards. So we're here at the original site of Onslow township. There's nothing here but ruins now. This was originally the police station, I believe, and it's an interesting old building, or what remains of one. Lots of graffiti, most of it recent, some quite old graffiti, 1940. One there from 1945, and up here 1955, 1950, and up here Bill Thornton RAAF 1945. An old fireplace in this one. Would have been where the police officers lived, I suppose. And over here, this is an old water storage tank. Obviously they stored water underground, probably kept it cooler and maybe easier than building an above ground tank. Someone's put a grating on the top to stop you from climbing in and getting stuck or whatever. This looks like it would have been the exercise yard, and there's a big steel ring cemented into the floor in the middle, so presumably the prisoners were chained to that and allowed to walk up and down to get their exercise. And the walls used to be lime washed. I can't make out any writing there. That's probably the original ceiling, made out of corrugated iron with cement poured on top of it. And this end one's had a steel frame put in, presumably to stop it from collapsing. It's smaller than the other cells, very narrow. This might have been a punishment cell or solitary confinement or something horrible like that. And heading out of the exercise yard, because we can, this would have been the stables for the police horses, no doubt. Somewhat bigger than the cells for the prisoners. Here we have this opening which probably would have been to shovel out the horse poo. When I first came here 10 or 15 years ago, this was just a crumbling ruin in the middle of nowhere. Now they've put in interpretive signage and attempted some preservation work. And over here, not far away, we have toilets and an information kiosk with Wi-Fi and our bus. And more information signs. Nice to have the information, but it is somewhat spoilt, the feel of the place. Hard to imagine this whole area was once a thriving town. Apparently it was abandoned in the late 1920s after it was destroyed by a cyclone, and they moved the whole town up towards the coast. Church Hall, 1904, once stood here. So now we're heading out to the new town of Onslow to get some provisions and such. Have a look. Driving on the right for a change. The left side of the road looks a bit chopped up. to the town of Onslow. We'll have a quick look at the Onslow Visitor Centre.
Yeah, it really does help, that's for sure. 5.8 metre tide up there for last week. And they're like, oh, that's as high as it gets. Yeah.
So let's see what they've got in here. It's a bit dark in here, it's hard to see exactly what this old radio is. Its speaker's obviously missing, and it's desperately in need of restoration.
GPS for
So we're heading out of Onslow, and the next major town is Karratha. That's about 300 kilometres away. We probably would make it today, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but we heard about a nice camp spot just this side of it, so we'll probably head for that instead. Same day, different river. So today we're camped by the Broome River, about 100 k's further north. We're running out of light. It's not the place we planned to stay, but it's not bad. So we're looking for this alleged campsite at the mouth of the Fortescue River. Let's see if we can find it. Like the river.
I'm not going across there.
No, I wouldn't say it looks like a great campsite. The river mouth is possibly a bit further on.
Oh no, Terry said don't go all the way to the river mouth. Take the track and you end up on a creek feeding the river.
Yeah.
So it's a turnaround.
And that's a ditch that I'm not going to drive through. So there's the mining camp on the left. So I think this is the camp spot they told us about. Mangrove swamps. And it's at the end of a long corrugated track that leads back to the mine. I just saw a fish jump out of the water up there. I'd say the fishing here would be very good. Just walking through the mangroves here. And it's obviously low tide. This is near the river mouth, so it will be tidal. and the tides in this part of the world are very big, so I would imagine that it will come right up to where I'm standing at high tide. I don't see any crocodile slides here, but I wouldn't be swimming in this. So, heading back up the track and back to the highway. So, looking at our map of Australia and ignoring all these lines on it, which are all our previous trips, we're now in Karratha, which is about here. So we've travelled from Perth all the way up the west coast to here, and we're heading for Broome, which is over here. That's about another 800 kilometres. We've covered about 1,500 so far. So we won't probably make that today, and there's not very much between here and here. It's just straight road. I believe there's a pub, the Whim Creek Hotel, which we've been to a couple of times, but last time we went to it was closed down, so it may be open, otherwise it'll be a roadside camp somewhere along that road. So we're heading out of Karratha towards Port Hedland and on to Broome. But first we go through a smallish town of Roebourne, so we'll have a quick look around that. So coming into Roebourne now. Not a lot here. Government houses, and I think the biggest industry here is the prison. Whim Creek and Port Hedland this way. Whim Creek is a hotel I was thinking of staying at, but we don't know if it's still open or not. Just coming into Whim Creek. We'll see if the pub is open. There's nothing else at Whim Creek apart from the pub. So we'll just have to see.
Thanks, mate. I don't think I own a fucking highway. I do think I own a fucking family like you don't do a sea at night, eh?
Someone not very happy.
Fucking sort this out right now.
Well, sadly, the pub is still closed. It first closed during the COVID outbreak. They rely pretty heavily on overseas visitors for staff. And of course, with the borders closed, they couldn't get any. And this is as far as we get by the looks of it. It looks as if the beer garden and the grounds are being maintained. And it's all pretty much as it used to be. Hopefully they're still going to open again one day. Anyway, there's nothing else here. No point in stopping. So, onwards towards Port Hedland and beyond. A fishing jetty set up for the tides here. Obviously the tides come right up to the top of this. All the ships at the port, and someone obviously likes the view from here because they've set up some lounge chairs there. And some of the ships in port here, they will be shipping mostly iron ore out of here, although this is the main port in this area for all manner of things. Fairly big ship coming into port here. So I'm going to call this the end of part 2. But I'll be back very shortly with part 3, and we'll have a look around Broome and beyond. Thanks for watching. Catch you then.